Welcome to the interview show. This is Scott Wood, your host. Right now, I am in the kitchen of a band called Sprïng. I'm going to go around in a circle and get each member who is present to introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Joe.
But Joe, what do you do in this band you're in?
I hang out. No, I sing and I play guitar and keyboard.
Hey, I'm Elliot. I sing and play guitar. I don't play keyboard very much, though.
He does a little bit, though. I'm Kevin. I play the drum kit, and I sing a little bit as well.
Awesome. So right now, we're in your kitchen. I would love each of you to pick out an item that has special personal significance for you. And keep in mind, this is radio, so you're going to have to describe it well so people understand what you're talking about.
Hi, I'm Joe, and my item is the record player that we have. And it's a record player. It plays all the music we like. I think it's kind of self-explanatory to radio listeners.
Not everyone has a record player in their kitchen.
The kitchen's a communal space in this house, and it's like the center of everything. So we mainly listen to music on this record player in this house.
Right now, you're eating a bowl of noodles. When you were preparing those noodles, what record did you play?
I didn't prepare these noodles.
All right, who prepared the noodles and what were you listening to?
I prepared the noodles, and I think I was listening to Joe teaching a piano lesson, or I was listening to someone practicing their 2-5-1 licks on piano in the living room. So I didn't actually have a record on at the time. But
teaching a piano lesson, that sounds adorable. I would love you to talk about that.
Well, this house, in addition to being our living space and our recording studio and our rehearsal space, we also house the Mount Pleasant Music Teachers Co-op. The three of us teach music lessons out of the house to ages 8 to 80. So
no 81-year-olds. No 81-year-olds.
Remember, everyone, hands up system, please.
Sorry.
And so we teach guitar and piano and drum lessons all out of the house. And so frequently, even though the record player's in the kitchen, it's not always in use because often there's a piano lesson going on or something.
Oh my God, that's adorable and awesome. Guys, thank you for sharing that with me. How about, now that we've got that out of the way, we play a song?
Yeah, let's play a song. Let's just play a song. Let's play Follow off of our album Celebrations.
You would like to play the song Follow off the record Celebrations by the band Sprïng.
Yes, by the band Sprïng. My band. I am Joe. I sing and I play guitar.
While you're listening to that song, he's going to be finishing his noodles.
Yo, what's up, everyone in the community? I'm Joe. I sing and I play ukulele in Sprïng, and you're listening to The Interview Show with Scott Wood.
Welcome back to The Interview Show. This is Scott Wood, your host. You just heard the track Follow by a band called Sprïng off their record Celebrations. Right now, I'm sitting in the band's kitchen, meaning they all share a house, live together, and are eating dinner. So, guys, I would love it if one of you could talk about this track. Two guys jumped in. They wanted to talk about it, so I'm going to let them each talk about this track.
Yeah, we can take turns. So this track, something I think is really neat about that track is that it's all one take. It's all from one performance, and I think it was about probably maybe the third time we actually played that song all the way through. So it's actually pretty much just a live track. There's a few overdubs, a solo overdub here and there. Yeah, it's probably as live as the album gets.
Elliot, who's going to jump in now, just poured himself a big cup of wine.
I jumped to the mic because I thought you were going to ask us about our dinner or our food or something like that. I don't actually have anything to say about the song. Joe covered it.
All right, how about you just take another sip of your wine? You guys are a Vancouver band. You proudly call yourself an East Vancouver band. You used to be, or most of you used to be, in a band called the SSRIs. So, before I turned on the recorder, we were talking a little bit about tips to survive bands, and Ridley told me that the hardest part is letting go of the songs from the old band. I thought that was a beautiful thing to say. I'd love to get one of the members here to talk a bit about that, their own reaction to it.
Well, Ridley was a fan. It wasn't really that hard for me to let go of the old song. It's true, and it's touching. Ridley actually ended up joining the band right at the tail end of SSRIs and was a big SSRIs fan. So for him, I totally understand it being like, oh, I only got to play these songs like twice with you guys in the band, or whatever. And then you guys are all like, oh, we want to write some new material.
So why don't you miss the old songs?
I don't know. Imagine listening to any song like 100,000 times. You want to, at a certain point, you do want to move on. And I mean, that's kind of a thing with any band that releases a record. By the time they release a record, they've usually heard those songs like quite a few times. But then, you know, as a band, you still have to play that material and you still want to present it well for people. And I think that's actually one of the reasons why playing music is a selfless act. Because you have to endure yourself for so long with your own music to the point where maybe you don't want to do it anymore, but you still do it for the people.
Whoa, things just got deep. So let's bring it back to reality with the guy who likes cups of wine.
Well, Joe covered it pretty well. I don't know. I think it's a bit of a mixed... For me, it was definitely a mixed feeling because on the one hand, I really liked the SSRI stuff and had a lot of fun playing it, but it also didn't feel like it had the same energy 2 years later as it did when we initially recorded it, especially when half the band was different. And so it felt a lot better to just eventually start over and come up with some new material.
The new band is called Sprïng. That is a very vague name. As soon as I saw it, I immediately wanted to ask you guys, are you trying to hide from the internet?
We actually, we spent a short tour's worth of time arguing about not arguing, but debating on a new name, and we knew that we wanted it to be something that you could be playing a show in a noisy bar, and then someone comes up to you after the set and goes, "That was really cool. What's your band called?" And then you go, "It's called blah blah blah, such and such," and they go, "Oh, cool," and then they know. Because if you shout out, "We're called SSRIs," then you get people going, "Huh?" Or going, "Oh, you're called psoriasis," and so that was one thing that we wanted, was just like definitely unambiguously, this is what the band's called. And actually, something that we stumbled upon was putting the umlaut over the I of the name. Which actually, if you can figure out how to make the I with the umlaut, it shows up in Google search as like the only thing that there is, except for there's like a World of Warcraft thing that's called Sprïng with the 2 dots over the I. So, yeah.
So how about you help out your fans and tell them how to make an umlaut I?
Oh, Joe, take it.
Alt U on a Mac, and then you press I.
But I'm a PC guy.
copy and paste it from something else. I'm not sure. I'm not a PC guy anymore. I used to be.
I think it's like Alt 139, but it's really easy on phones. All you do is you just hold down the eye, and it says, "Oh, what kind of funky eye do you want? Do you want it with the 2 dots?" And you say, "Yes, please," and there you go.
Who uses computers anymore? It's all phones now.
At this point, I thought maybe I'd play an old SSRI track, and then maybe we could come back and you could talk about how that's not right for Sprïng and musical journey and stuff like that.
Sure. Let's play Rose. This is from the 2010 one and only album by SSRIs, which is called Effeminate Godzilla-sized Wind Chimes, and the song is called Rose.
All right, let's listen to that.
Check the calendar. Another day gone. Learn to count. Lost my
Hey, this is Kevin from Sprïng. You're listening to The Interview Show with Scott Wood.
Welcome back to the interview show. This is Scott Wood, your host. Right now I'm sitting in the kitchen of a band called Sprïng. You just heard a song called Rose. That's by a band called the SSRIs, who are sort of Sprïng back in the day. What's a quick way of describing them? Drummer who was drumming while the song was playing.
It's the great grandparents of Sprïng was SSRIs. That track was clearly quite a departure from what we're doing these days with Sprïng, but I like to think that we still maintain some of the visceral energy of performances like that.
Well, it's funny because I think when Joe and I originally started a band, all we wanted to do was have like a sort of creative rock band. And, the way things panned out, it eventually happened that SSRIs became known as having like this sort of specific sound, which was really spastic, crazy, like lots of yelling and just spazzing out. And so when we felt like I think we both felt that album was sort of the peak of what we could do in that style of music. And then when we started to write new stuff, it was different enough that we thought, SSRIs has sort of become known for this specific style of music. It makes more sense to just start a new project with a new name if it's going to be a musical departure.
So Sprïng, your new record, it's called Celebrations. You guys recorded it in this house. So did it help you guys when making this music that you could not escape it?
The music or the house? Sorry, I have a question. Or is that both? Is this synonymous now?
Most people in their work, they can leave the office, or most people in a band can go home. You guys could not.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Me and Ellie have lived together for a long time and been in bands for a long time. So I think on that end, I'm pretty used to it. And definitely as career musicians, like there is no going home. Like you're always feeling the pressure of being like, well, first of all, you're always hungry. So you just feel the pressure of having to eat. But then also you're always feeling like you have to practice, you have to work on something. There's not really like a time where you're like, oh, is this like the vacation time? Because you can't really vacation from your instrument because then you get worse at it.
Yeah, that's sort of a thing in this house. It's like, if any one of us has like an hour where you're just vegging out on the internet or something, you end up hearing someone else practicing, and then you're like, oh man, I really should be working on music. So, but I think we all like that pressure. We all like the like it's not competitive, but I think we all encourage each other to try and use our time well and to try and like work on our musical, skills and projects as much as we can and to the best of our abilities.
Yeah, working on the record here was really it was a nice experience because there's not that kind of clock ticking in the studio, paying for an engineer's time and stuff. So we could do things like, hey, let's do 4 takes of this song, next Sunday, and we'll just see if we can get it done. And then you do the 4 takes, and you maybe have something, and then say, hey, let's break and make a pot of coffee and make some noodles, and then come back and try it again, and having it be a really comfortable environment, and not having the pressure of being like, okay, this is the day we have to get this song done, and just be like, hey, what are you doing in 2 hours? Do you want to record these background vocals? And so that was a really nice experience.
Did you guys ever have a moment where you were in the shower and you were like, Eureka? And if so, I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, I feel like things like showers or like bike riding, I always get like these ideas for songs and stuff. But, well, I mean, it's pretty hard in the shower to like grab your, an instrument or a phone or something to record your ideas. But
you could dash out of the shower, go downstairs, and record that inspiration.
It's actually just right next door to the shower is where we did most of the recording. No, I didn't have anything that was from the shower directly. We had some oh, Kevin has one.
Well, it kind of a counter to that. The room where a lot of stuff was tracked is right next to the washroom. I think it was the very end of the track Loretta, which has this fairly complex finger picking acoustic part that Joe was trying to nail and was having a little bit of trouble with it. And finally, he had nailed the perfect take and just got it perfect. And I didn't realize that he was recording, and I flushed the toilet right at the end. And I just heard finger picking, and then fuck. Oh, sorry about that, Joe. Hey, this is Kevin from Sprïng. You're listening to the interview show with Scott Wood on the radio and sometimes on blogs.
Storyteller's got a striped cape and a big red hat, long curly mustache, long brown hair down to his toes, wears a sky blue vest, bell bottom pants, wears only one sandal on his left foot. He smiles with open eyes, giggles to himself, says if you knew all they did, you'd be smiling too. He paints pictures with triangles of patterns that reflect cosmic math. When he speaks, he rolls his R's, he takes deep breaths, lets it sink in that your soul deep within is immortal, explains rules you must follow, the do's and the don'ts, seriousness behind a smile, eternity's at stake, tells you amazing tales of courage and strength, ability to overcome, sacrifice, and the restless mind he calms, the cold heart he warms, and the restless mind he calms, the cold heart he warms. One day a storyteller came to me, feeling out, 'cause I'm a doctor, so I'll test his pulse, his temperature, blood, x-rays and such, of tension, hesitation. His spirit wasn't born, his soul was sick, causing confusion, delusion. So I removed them, left a human
Yo, sup out there in Radio Land. You got the dial tuned to the interview show with Scott Wood. This is Elliot from Sprïng. Check it out.
Welcome back to the interview show. This is Scott Wood, your host. You just heard Storyteller. That's by an East Vancouver band called Sprïng off their debut record, Celebrations. I've got 3 members of this band trapped in their kitchen with me, so I'd love it if one of you guys could talk about this track.
I wrote this song. This was a challenge for me to try and write a song that had like the melody and the lyrics coming first. I wanted to have a strong melody and strong lyrics, and I actually wrote it while I was on a trip in Israel, and I came back and I showed it to these guys, and it was just this song that was just a guitar part and 3 vocal harmonies, and we weren't really sure what to do as far as bringing in the rest of the band. So when we recorded it, we recorded that core instrumentation, the guitar part and the vocals, and then we just went nuts with putting a whole bunch of different instruments and layers on it to create this really crazy arrangement, which we never intended to perform live. But then at our last show at the Rickshaw, we just tried our best to do as much of what was on the recording live as we could.
All right, Sprïng the band, you guys share a house together. We're in it right now in East Vancouver. You've said that living together is like tour training. Can you talk about how everyone else in the band has learned to accept or cope with a weird, strange habit of yours?
My name's Joe, and I'm like pretty loud and constantly yelling and doing stuff. I'm also pretty short too, tempered sometimes too. And these are the things that I think people put up with, or they just complain about me behind my back and it's a coping mechanism.
I've spent a half an hour with you guys, and you seem very mild-mannered.
Oh, just you wait. Give it a 45. Move on in.
I guess I'm just known, my bad characteristic is just being spacey and aloof, and I try and not be the most, but I am. So, I'm Elliot. Oh, I think like probably a lot of people living in Vancouver now, it's just the fact that the city is expensive means that you, one way of coping with it is to share a house with a lot of people, and we've got 8 people in this house. And so it's really just sometimes feels like too many people in the house. So you do your best to be a decent human being to everyone, even when you're sort of going nuts from not having enough space to yourself.
I'm Kevin. I'll go in phases where I get really into practicing jazz drums, and I'll just put on a metronome and some earplugs and play fast jazz drums alone in my room for hours on end. And it's probably really annoying, and everyone's very sweet about it and puts up with it. So we all kind of make a lot of noise in the house, and listening to musicians practicing, as much as musicians always want to be supportive and say how nice it is to hear people working on stuff, it's actually like really super annoying sometimes, but it's all part of the process, and so we make it work.
Guys, thank you very much for spending some time with me in your kitchen tonight. I really appreciate that. At the end of the show, I love the band to pick one of their own tracks and talk a bit about it as I bring up that music.
This is a track called Pastel. Was a lot of fun to learn and play because it was a really challenging piece of music that Joe brought in. It's got weird rhythms, and this actually sort of the whole point. Actually, the point of Kevin's drum part is to sort of throw the listener off, but ultimately in learning it ended up throwing off the other musicians in the band. So it's been a really fun song because as we've gotten more confident playing it, now we can actually play with that a lot and not get thrown off. But initially it was just a headache to try and learn.
This song was, the working title it was given by Ridley was, which we still call it, is Piano Shred Guy. And you'll see what we mean with the shreddy piano part when you hear it.
Awesome. So we're going to listen to Pastel by a band called Sprïng off their debut record, Celebrations. Guys, thank you very much for being on my show. I'm going to go around in a circle and get each of you to say your like thanks or see ya or whatever.
Peace.
Thanks, see ya, whatever.
Thank you very much.